Hello, everybody. Welcome to ECH Postgame Live on this crazy Sunday afternoon. What a game that was. I hope everybody just sat back and enjoyed that one for what it was, because that was just wild. Even before the game started, there was some crazy news. So we had some stuff with the lineup, and we actually have some stuff with the lineup right now. So you had Yanni Gord with an injury returning healthy back in the lineup, Winterton out, Grubauer starting, Joey Decord out with an illness, Michael Matias in E-Bug on an amateur tryout. And for post game, we even have Dylan Travers. Game time decision. He really was a game time decision. As you can see there, he is audio only because he had, we'll call it a mid-body injury. His back seized up, and so he's a little bit under the weather, but he is audio only at the moment. And then you have me, more a little on the positive side of a game time decision, but still dealing with the illness, but I'm playing through it. I have to after this game. So Dylan, we'll let you talk here as everyone sees the black screen. How you doing? You feeling okay? And how about that game?
I mean, that game is helping me feel better. I will say that. So that is a positive. Yeah, had to be able to join this after that game. I'm only gonna be here a little bit. I'm gonna have to get off to go to a urgent care appointment, but had to join just because that was one of the wildest games that we've seen in Seattle Kraken franchise history. It was just absolutely fantastic. What a gutsy effort from the group, especially after they started slow, right? Like they started this game, they're chasing it a little bit. They find themselves down the 2-goal hole, but they're able to, fight back, show that resiliency that we've seen from them this entire road trip, and go out there and find offense, RJ, in a way that I did not know this group could find offense.
Yeah, and when the game was 3-1 too, it felt almost like it might be over. How are they possibly going to get to 4 or 5 goals, right? That it was going to take in order to win this game. But it started when they just, I think, grinded it out, right? You have that Tanev goal that gets everything started. And that was just a hardworking play by the fourth line. Then you had the Shane Wright line just going to work, more work battling along the boards. And you get that Tolvanen goal to help you get back in it. And I think this is just a team that has no quit in them. And we've seen it at various points this season, but now they're getting rewarded for it on the scoreboard in a big way. And heck, even when the Rangers got a couple goals to get it back within one, the Kraken tightened up and they locked it down in a way that they really needed to. And so just so much resilience in this win. This group does not give up.
No, they don't. And it was just, yeah, for so many reasons, this was just an incredible victory for them. I think it's going to do a lot for this group as far as confidence moving forward. I mean, anytime you can come back in a game and play well, I think that's big, but it's going to be a big confidence game for, the young guys, for the different guys in and out of the lineup right now, the players that have been coming off, being scratched. Obviously, Shane had a fantastic game. That whole line did, especially Oliver Bjorkstrand and just the way they're playing. It's vindication for, I feel like, the coaching staff and kind of the way that they want this group to play, the energy and effort that they want them to have, the 200-foot game. I mean, we saw lots of goals created off of transition in this one. This is just one of those games that you can really point to and say that both for the coaching staff and for the players, everything's just kind of coming together, and, the results are there for what they're trying to do. And I think that's just a big deal.
And I think you create a lot of your own results in that case. Look, this was not the prettiest game. Like, a coach is going to hate this game. Looking back at it and watching the film, right? Coaches hate a 7-5 game. There are a lot of little things that you can pick apart. But I think when the habits are generally good and you're playing the right way overall, you tend to be on the right side of a game like this. And I think you could say the opposite about the Rangers, right? There's a reason they just traded their captain. Things are going very wrong for them. Those habits have not been there for the Rangers. And in a game like this, where it's just so chaotic and so much is happening, I think you look at a team that has been trending the right way and a team that's been trending the wrong way, and it should be no surprise which team came out on top.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. Credit to Grubauer too for coming in and making some big key saves in this one as well. Another solid game from him. Lots in the leaky early one. I'm going to give you that. But some of the other ones, it's just the way this game was going, and it was going the same way for Jonathan Quick at the other end.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a solid game from Grubauer. I'm sorry. That leaky first one can't happen. The one that helps the Rangers get back in it from the bad angle, like he let in another couple goals that
Read
just
about that though? Like the only reason his head's not sealed to the post is he's trying to see around the two guys fighting in front of him, right? I mean, you never expect that puck to go in.
right, but that's again, this has been a trend here as far as like when he's been on the post. There have been a few that have kind of beat him in weird ways from that spot on either post. And part of it is just that he's smaller. Like a bigger goalie might get more of a piece of that. But
That was the case with, was it the second or the third goal from the Rangers, the
mhm.
Hedel goal, where it was just like, oh, if that's Joey, he gets that just because he's got a larger wingspan.
Yeah, and there was another one of those too. So I just the overall body of work. I'm sorry, I can't call it a solid game. That said, he hung in there, and it can be tough too because mentally, on the mental side of things, that San Jose game was really rough for him. But he knew he was going the distance no matter what. That's a lot of
Mhm.
pressure that it puts on you, and he had multiple chances in that game to make a big save and try and get the win for his team, despite his previous play. He couldn't do it. Tonight he did
Right.
it. Or
Yeah.
today, I guess he did it. He had chances to come back. His teammates gave him those opportunities, and he did make the big saves when he needed to.
I was gonna say it's crazy that back-to-back games where the Kraken have played, against an opponent where both for the Kraken and the other team, they basically don't have another option in net, right? Like just like with that first Sharks game where it was just you're not gonna stick in Joey no matter kind of what goes on. The Sharks aren't gonna do it, make a change. And in this game where both presumed starters get pulled out earlier today, in the morning. It's kind of nuts that the games kind of turned out the way that they did. I don't know. Maybe that's expected. I don't feel like that normally happens when backups go in. I feel like the games tend to be a little bit more boring. Both teams play a little bit more conservatively, but both with that game in San Jose and then today, it was just everything was go go go.
Yeah, it added a different element to this one, and it's entertaining hockey to watch. But you're right. There's that pressure, really, I guess, for both goalies, right? Knowing that you're kind of going no matter what's happening, you're going to have to play the entire game, and so it's just whoever can kind of find their game the fastest and the best.
Yeah. Now we've got a ton of super chats here piling up, some really big ones too. I want to thank everybody for all of these, and I think we should go ahead and start reading these off.
Yep, let's go. So we got the first super chat in here from the Mark Cast. What an incredible win. So proud for the boys. Also, did you hear Forsland call Stevenson the facilitator? Yes, I did catch that on the broadcast. That nickname is catching on. And Stevenson did have that great pass on the power play to find Oliver Bjorkstrand in front. Just kind of waited out Adam Fox, put the puck through him, and that patience there was really a good play.
Yeah, it was kind of a blown coverage there, I would say, for the Rangers on the PK. I mean, I don't know
That too.
what their other defenseman's doing a mile away from Stevenson, but it was still a great feed, kind of, just great saucer pass, something that Chandler Stevenson can do. Not a ton of guys in this group can probably make that pass and have the vision and patience there to make that play. He absolutely did. And hey, look at him picking up points in this one, RJ, against a non-bottom feeding team.
Exactly. 2 assists in this one against a team that is certainly not in the bottom 5 in the NHL. So good for him against some quality competition. Next super chat from Ethan. Beach balls abound. They did it again. Winning record on a road trip. Who are they? That's right. I mean, the Kraken winning record on this road trip. I think you have to declare the road trip a success at this point. I don't think you can really argue otherwise,
No.
despite the loss against New Jersey. They did it. It wasn't always the prettiest, but they did it.
Exactly. They got the job done. They bounced back. They responded after the, poor performance that they had those last couple home games and the three losses that they had to those California teams. They responded the way that they had to respond to save their season. And that is what they did. Was they came out, and it wasn't even that, oh, they played like desperate and they somehow scraped these together. They came in with a plan. They were able to execute that plan in really all four of these games, and you walk away with 6 points out of the road trip. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and if they can just keep this going, you're going to get the 2 points more often than not. When an opponent, I think even we saw this in New Jersey, right? When the opponent realizes it's not going to be easy and they're going to have to work for everything, I think there are a lot of games that you can kind of get yourself in, even if the opponent's very good, if you just keep this up. Next super chat, a big one here from Michael. Commitment kept, let's go Kraken. And we're seeing the ones start to trickle in here after, for the people who had committed something, if the Kraken got the road sweep, even though they did not get the sweep on the road trip. Appreciate that so much, Michael. Thank you for the super chat there.
Definitely. And just to kind of add on to what the team has been doing on this road trip, we saw another one today, right? Where there were little gaps of a couple minutes at a time where the Kraken kind of struggled to dictate that pace, struggled with that, all out 110% effort, whatever it is you want to call it. But I think it is encouraging that really in all four of these games, there was a period in time in which they struggled with that, but you were still able to walk out with 3 victories out of the 4 games. So it does show. Obviously, in a perfect world, you want the full 60, but if you only get 55 minutes, this group can find a way to get it done.
Right. And that's something that we were concerned about, I think, at earlier points of the season, right? If the team didn't necessarily give a full 60, just do they have the talent? Do they have the ability to produce on the scoreboard? And I think this game is proof that, yeah, they didn't play the best game. They didn't play well their whole time, but they got 7 goals up on the scoreboard. And they very much needed goals as well. So that's a good takeaway. Another big super chat here from Cole. I don't care if it wasn't a sweep. This was a season resetting road trip. I'm pumped. And I think that is the big takeaway from this, right? It didn't need to be a sweep, but it is a season resetting road trip. And I like the way you phrased that, Cole, because that's exactly what this is. The Kraken hit rock bottom after that San Jose game at home, and that they needed a season resetting road trip. And that's exactly what this was. They're a completely different team. They might not win every game going forward, but they are a completely different team than what they were before this road trip.
Right. It feels like they took the team that we saw earlier on in the year, in which they were able to, play good teams close. But they were able to build on it with their, new familiarity with the systems, the expanded systems, the new offensive zone approach, the changes made to the power play, another power play goal in this one tonight for them. And it wasn't even Shane. So it's, actually the power play is getting better. Right. But just the fact that they were able to kind of take that effort from earlier in the season, mix it with the strategy that they've been working on kind of all along, and then kind of have this new result for the group and have that new mindset afterwards. This is a different group. It's a different team. It's unfortunate that really after all of this, you're still just 500. So in that sense,
Mhm.
it hasn't really reset your season, although it at least makes it feel like you can go on a run and that you can find a way to be on the positive side of things come later on in the year.
Yeah, I don't really mean this, but like, what's more of a reset than 500? That's where you're at the start of the season.
Yeah,
That's the ultimate
true.
reset, but not really because other teams have gained more ground in the
And
standing.
they've found a way to get to 500 like 18 times already. So
I know they were so close. Had they not gotten the empty net goal, they would be back to a 0 goal differential. Also, and I think after the last game, they were the only team in the NHL that had that with a 500 record. So I just thought that was pretty funny. Next super chat here from Schultz. Great win and road trip. Grew looked good early. A shaky after the interference call. Got to wonder if the goalie swap happens if not for an e-bug. Dylan, how worried were you after Grubauer got his head run into by Philip Hedl there and goes down? Because look, it's a fun story for the e-bug, but if he had to play the majority of this game, it would have gotten really ugly.
after what, like 8 or 9 years of not playing hockey, yeah, that would have been
At
pretty
any
brutal.
level.
And yes,
Yeah.
and we would have had a very different conversation. I feel like on post game, and it would have been one of understanding, but still, it would have been disappointment at maybe an opportunity that got away. Great job from Grubauer to kind of battle through that and be able to reset after something like that happens, both with the early goal and with the interference call there. I mean, it just like I said, it shows that I think he had a solid performance today. It certainly showed that he's just working and operating with a different mindset and in a different headspace than where he was at, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and it would have been interesting to see if Joey Decord was just fully healthy, if we would have seen a goalie change, maybe even at like 3-1 or something like that. More to even just to
Yeah,
send a message to the team. I still don't think so because you want to keep Joey as healthy and rested for the other games. And it
agreed.
seems like the Kraken are just committed to letting Grubauer try and work stuff out mid-game. Next super chat here from Light. All 4 Kraken centers got a point in the second period. Have to imagine that's a franchise record and a very rare occurrence in the NHL in general. Shane and Maddie are leading this team. The future is here. Yet great to see the production from the centers, and yet that second period was crazy. Just how much the Kraken poured it on, and really before that too. going from allowing the kind of chances they were allowing. Because remember, it was 3-1 Rangers, and the Kraken had a few, I mean, the Rangers had a few chances to make it 4-1, right? The Kraken weren't defending all that well.
No.
Grubauer makes that fantastic save on, I forget who that was on, but on the one-timer coming across that, I mean, that's his save of the year so far, and it keeps the Kraken in it. But to go from that, where it felt like the Kraken were falling apart, to all of a sudden putting that kind of pressure on the Rangers, really impressive. And the centers were a big part of that.
They were, and the only other game I could think of that maybe would have this chance would be the Kings 9-8 game. Like, maybe you get a period there where all the centers pick it up just because scoring was just easy that night. But with this one, yeah, you look at everything that the Shane Wright line did and just their ability to kind of feast on the good matchups, RJ, because that's really what this is when you have a third line like that, there's only so much other teams can do to stop your entire group. And when they have to worry about two lines already, they got to worry about a Stevenson line that has Jared McCann. They got to worry about Matty Beniers' line that's playing really well, especially with Yanni back. It puts that Shane Wright line in a position where they're working with an advantage more nights than not. And when they're able to work from that place, they're able to produce. And we saw that in a huge way tonight. Tolvanen and Bjorkstrand, they have got fantastic chemistry together. We knew that from before, but it's still there. And what's great has been Shane coming in and just playing smart hockey and getting it done. And then for the team really as a whole for that second period, what I found was really interesting was there wasn't too much that they were doing from like a systems or an X's and O's standpoint. They just went out there and they took what the Rangers gave them. And that's unusual for this group. We haven't really seen that this year. We've wanted to see it at times, but we haven't really seen a team just go out there and just kind of go to empty spaces, throw the puck to empty space, find guys when they're open, kind of regardless of where they are on the ice, but still have an emphasis on the lower half of the offensive zone. And so that was really encouraging to me because that's just something that we have not seen this team really do yet. But it's something that I think could pay off big dividends moving forward when you play good teams like the Rangers.
That's a good point. It wasn't really complex. It wasn't scheming things open. It was taking what the Rangers were giving you, and thankfully too, the Rangers are a team that maybe struggled a bit defensively. They were giving the Kraken some stuff, and they stepped up and took advantage of it. This super chat here from Milo. Feel better soon, guys. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm sure we'll be on the mend pretty soon here. Super chat from JMG. Great to see Shane playing so well. Is he being used differently since he's come back? As far as, I mean, looking at the ice time again for Shane in this one, another pretty low total, 12:27 of ice time for Shane. But I think the two big differences in how he's being used are, first of all, the line mates that he's being given. Ellie Tolvanen and Oliver Bjorkstrand, that line is being given some plus matchups, and they're being counted on to take advantage of those plus matchups. They certainly did that today, scoring 3 goals, not allowing any in their time out there on 5-on-5. And the other thing, too, is just the power play usage, where I think he's been in a different spot on the power play. He's on the back door. He's kind of leveraging that one-timer, and it worked for him right away in that game in San Jose where he gets a couple power play goals. I think that's the other usage difference. But a big part of it, too, is the mindset change from Shane. He is playing like a top 6 forward rather than a bottom 6 forward, and I think he's got that message.
Exactly. So, whether that's you would consider that a usage thing or just a Shane thing, what we're seeing is, he's got line mates that can go and do the dirty work, and he's letting them go and do the dirty work, unlike earlier in the season where he was choosing to go and do the dirty work. If he was first guy in the zone, he was going to go to the corner. What we're seeing is him let up a little bit, let Ellie Tolvanen go and do that, let Oliver Bjorkstrand go and do that, be the second guy who can then either be open in the slot for a scoring chance or be the facilitator then, right? Go and back up that person who's going in for the board battle so that you can get the puck with a little bit of time and space, and then you can go find a defenseman or find your other line mate and make a good pass and try to facilitate and create an offensive chance that way. So it's not so much his usage that changed, but it is that mindset.
Yeah, the mindset is definitely the biggest thing. And speaking of big, we've got a big super chat here from Sean. 3-1 is good enough for me. Appreciate those of you who are keeping with their pledges for the road trip sweep, even though it wasn't quite a sweep. It sure feels like one. So thank you so much, Sean, for that super chat. And then Dylan, you want to read this one from Gregory? It's your thing.
I was gonna say we got the. Let me see if I can get it going.
Can you trigger it from there?
I got it going. Here we go. It's the lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. Oh, and I need the Gatorade too. The electrolytes, I need them. Back's all seized up, muscles are not doing great right now. The electrolytes, I'm sure, will help. So help me take whatever medication I end up getting here. What a second period! I still can't believe we won this game. Back to 500 there from Gregory. Appreciate it as always, Gregory. And yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, RJ. We are back to 500, but hockey, especially over an 82 game season, regular season stuff, it is all about the trends. You know that the fact that they're trending in a positive direction is huge, especially as yes, they come home, but your schedule is still going to be tough here. You're still playing good teams. You got the reigning defending Stanley Cup champions coming into the barn on Tuesday. I think the fact that they are trending in the positive direction, yes, you're only 500. That's still fine right now at this point in the season. You're still hanging in there. You just want to work on, building that confidence, building the familiarity in the system, finding the lines like that Shane Wright line that are going to work for you for a long period of time. It's all still good.
Right. And I remember what you said it when we were talking about the 20 game mark and kind of evaluating where the team was. That at that point, we probably even take 500 as long as it felt like they were trending in the right direction.
Yeah,
Wasn't really the case after 20 games, but after 29 games, I could say, yeah, they're 500, but they're certainly trending in the right direction. And even though it's 9 games late, we'll still probably take it at this point.
exactly. Exactly.
Next super chat here from Thomas. European friendly game. I was thinking about all our European listeners
Yep.
and viewers for this one because very European friendly game. After 3-1, I was feeling a bit sad, but what a game. Good goals, grew with goal support. Shane line was on fire. Now how to fall asleep. Yeah, I don't know how you fall asleep
Yeah,
after
good
that
luck
one.
with that.
I'm wired. Good luck trying to fall asleep. But yeah, there was so much going on this game. The Grubauer goal support was huge. And I think that's one where you love to see a team coming in and supporting their goalie that, yeah, had certainly a rough start to this one. That first goal was pretty darn bad, but I think the team kind of rallied around him when they realized that, yeah, this might not be his best game, but he's going to be able to make the occasional save for us at the right time. And they gave him the goal support that he needed.
Exactly. And, I think it's again big for him to feel like he can go out there and win with the goal support, especially after that game in San Jose. Because look, he had goal support in that game in San Jose too. And, found a way to lose it, unfortunately. I think it's got to be big confidence boost for him, just to be able to, be in a game like that, stop the bleeding as much as you can if you're the person in net, give your team time to come out in the second period and play well, take advantage of what the Rangers are letting them take advantage of, and get back in the game. I got to think that this today was probably even bigger than the last game in New Jersey for him, just because it had so many echoes of that San Jose game. To be able to exercise the demons from that game in like 8 days later or something like that, that's got to feel massive for a goaltender who's kind of having the rough season that he's having.
Yeah, goaltending is so big mentally, and to have that many, oh, here we go again moments in this one, but still come out on the right side of it has got to be huge for his mental makeup right now. Next super chat here from Leanne. What a battle. Love the boys maintaining that fire in the past few games. Wish my boy Jared could have scored, but still fantastic game. Yeah, unfortunately, Jared McCann doesn't get in on the scoring as much of it as there was, but still great game from everybody all around. And did McCann get a? No, he actually didn't get a point in this one. But with Stevenson on the ice, he was around a lot of goals. It seemed like it's still a good game, like all around. I think defensively too from Jared McCann.
Yeah, so earlier on in the game, on when it was, I think, only 2-1 at that point, I had put on Discord that, look, you kind of get through this game, whatever. There's a lot of weird stuff going on with it. If you lose it, that's fine. When you come back home, though, you're going to have to do something to shake up some of these lines, right? The Shane Wright line is great. I think that's set. Your fourth line is great with Mitchell Stevens centering Brandon Tanev and Ty Cartier. You're completely set. Yanni being back up there with Schwartz and Maddie, I think works. Jared McCann just has to stop playing with Chandler Stevenson. It is just actively making Jared McCann worse to play with Chandler Stevenson. Even if Chandler Stevenson had a good game today, as we saw, Jared McCann did not. And I guess I should have been looking for it a little bit more so, RJ, because I really was not noticing Jared McCann in this one. I wonder, and this is something I can, if I'm stuck in a waiting room in a little bit here, I can go back and maybe look at it. Was Jared McCann taking over defensive responsibilities for Mitchell Steven? I mean, for Chandler Stevenson? because that
Um,
could maybe explain a little bit of this if he's starting to play the F1 role in the defensive zone.
It might. I didn't notice that offhand. I mean, there were a couple times I normally just noticed, like for some of the goals against, where I look and I saw
Yeah,
Stevenson was the guy down low, as we'll usually see. But that would explain some of it. But yes, the line that they were on, like they were on the ice for 1 goal for, 1 goal against at 5-on-5, so that's okay. But the shot attempts, I believe, were 5-13 in the Rangers' favor while they were out there, so not all that great. It does feel like a leftovers line, especially with Andre Burakovsky on it, because that was the other element too. Is
yeah,
you had Burakovsky moving to that line, where I don't think he's necessarily a good fit there, but I understand wanting to keep him in the lineup after what he did in that New Jersey game, right? You want to reward that.
yeah.
And so given that Gord's coming back, you had to find some solution, but that line was clearly the leftovers line.
And I think it was clear, at least in the first period, that they missed Ryan Winterton and kind of Ryan Winterton's consistent play, right? Like he's
Yes.
not necessarily going to do anything fancy or over the top or great or blah, blah, blah. But Ryan Winterton plays with a certain level of effort just each and every shift that he's out there. And he plays just so solid and responsibly, whether it's in the offense or defensive zone. He's just so dependable. And it did feel like that line missed that tonight or at
Yeah,
this
Ryan
moment.
Winterton is not the type of player that, his style of game does not lead to a 7-5 game.
Yes.
So I think you could definitely feel him missing there. And next super chat here from Tim. Man, so many super chats. Thank you everybody for these. Super chat here from Tammy. Here's half my original pledge for the sweep. Love coming from behind, even with a little excitement there at the end. Yeah, they did keep it interesting. First win at MSG, a win for Gruby. Wright looking great, great overall effort. That's right. It was the first win at Madison Square Garden for the Kraken. So it's fun to kind of check that one off. I haven't checked their progress as far as, getting wins in all the NHL buildings. I feel like there can't be too many left, right?
I was just gonna say, I don't think that there is. I mean, have they won in Tampa? Because right, like it
That
took a
would
long
be
time
one.
just to beat Tampa. I could see
I thought
maybe
there
you haven't
wasn't their
won it
first win on
anymore.
the road though against Tampa. Maybe not.
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe. It felt like it took a while for that one. It's a
Oh,
good
here we
point,
go.
though.
I pulled it up. The NHL actually keeps track of it. So there's actually one team in the NHL the Kraken have not beat on the road.
Okay.
It's the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, of course.
So close to just getting all of them ticked off, but we'll have to wait until next season at least to get that final road building win.
It's because they party too hard in Newark. I knew it.
That's right. Yeah. They stay in Newark and they party too hard.
Yep.
All right. Next super chat here from CJ. Nice seeing the boys hang in there today to get a W. Happy with this road trip and with Shane and his line becoming a force to be reckoned with. Lots of good talk about Shane Wright and what his line is doing. They are a matchup problem, right? If you can have this Beniers line go out there against some of the top competition and the Stevenson line at least be somewhat even, as a third line, like this has got to be one of the better third lines in the league, just given the talent that you have on it, the way that Bjorkstrand is playing, the heater he's on, and then the way that Shane is playing as well. And I don't want to forget Ellie Tolvanen, who does a lot of the dirty work on that line, but they're all just gelling so well.
Right. I mean, it's echoes of season 2 for the Kraken. That was obviously their fourth line. This time it's your third line, but this is also reminiscent. It reminds me of opening season Vegas, RJ, right? Where they had a third line that was able to go out there and contribute on a nightly basis for them and was often the thing that could tip them over the edge in a positive way in games like today, where you just have this third line that, yeah, you don't have to play them a ton, but when they're out there, just because they are just better than the players they are playing against, more nights than not, they're going to go out there and they're going to perform and get on the board for you at least once, if not several times like today for them. It's the one thing that I would not change for sure, and I would wait until things start to look, strained for them. But I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon, given what we saw from them tonight or today.
Yeah, leave that line together. Do not change it. Do not mess with it until we start to see something different. Maybe even give them a little uptick in ice time too. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Just kind of given where everybody fell on the ice time scale there. Next super chat here from Shannon. Hard to get home from work Monday through Friday to join in for East Coast games. Missed all of you. Loved this and the spirited effort. Funny how Heedle has fancy Dan skating moves unless he is running over Gru. That's right. I mean, Heedle is a pretty good skater. He's got those moves. I was wondering if maybe he just didn't realize where he was, because as a player, right, you're never trying to go bump a goalie's head, right? I
Right.
don't think that was intentional at all.
No, I don't think so either. It was easy, like in the moment, to like maybe think that just because of the Kraken situation and the fact that they do have Bug sitting there on the bench and whatever. I don't think it was intentional. Again, it's one of those like there's questionable lines sometimes guys take when they're going for to go for a moving screen or to go to a certain area on the ice. And but at the same time, like, Kraken players do the same thing. Like you kind of should do that. You want to get as much in their face as possible. I just think that's just playing hard.
Yeah, and hockey players, they have pride, right? You don't want to win that way. I feel like if you take out a goalie and the e-bug comes in, like maybe if you get a little contact on a goalie or something, the backup comes in, they're a little off. But if that's how you set up a win, with the e-bug, I don't think you feel good about that. There's not a single hockey player that feels good about that.
No, probably not.
Yeah. And then next super chat here from Rayanne. Thank you, Rayanne. I don't see a message attached to it. So if you
I
want to
think
put something in chat,
yeah. The first
yeah, can you
message
find it?
from Ryan after that was first win at MSG feels so good.
Okay. Yeah, you found one. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
first win MSG, it does feel so good. I mean, just one building to go. It's the Rock. They just got to take care of. But thank you for the super chat there, Rayanne. Next super chat here from Schultz. Goalie chaos, Ostman fight, Coco injury, Decord sick. That's right. All through the organization, there's some crazy goalie chaos. Did you see that fight, Dylan?
I did. That was wild.
I know it. Gotta love the goalie fights in the ECHL. You don't see it very much, the higher you go, but in the ECHL, crazy stuff like that still happens. Also, hope Nikkei Coco feels better soon. Same with Joey Decord too. I mean, did you hear Bilesma's answer on Decord about like when he might come back? Just as long as he can hold food down, so he's probably not having a good time.
Oh man, that is rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
is a tough one for sure.
hope
Um,
all the Kraken organization goalies feel better.
I was gonna say, and speaking of feeling better, I think I'm gonna have to go here. I am going to leave on this. After this game, we've got what Tolvanen and Bjorkstrand up there for just behind Jared McCann, second ish on the team in goals, and then Shane Wright moving up into third place. Tie for third. Then after that, with the goals, I mean that group is really getting it done. And talk about we said, right, this team was going to need depth scoring this year if they want to go out there and contribute, and they're getting it from that line.
Yeah, the depth with this team is there on paper. They just kind of had to find out the right way to configure it, get the contributions from all the people they needed to, and they're getting it so far. So I'll let you go there, Dylan. Good luck with your back and getting that all figured out. Thank you for joining me for the first half hour plus. Appreciate you playing through that mid-body injury. Everyone's banged up this time of year. We
Yep.
know that. So thank you, Dylan, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks RJ for holding it down. Sorry everybody, I got to take off. Just want to say thank you again to everybody for all the super chats, all the love, all the well wishes, all the fun times in the Discord with this one and on the big win. And then special shout out to my girlfriend Julia for being a rock star, just helping me out with everything this weekend. It's been awesome. So want to do that, and I'll catch you all I guess deep dive tomorrow.
That's right. Deep dive tomorrow. We'll have some fun stuff to talk about. All right. See you, Dylan. And also, I want to echo that. Oh, he took it off too. I also want to echo that shout out to Julia. She is awesome. Glad she's taken such good care of Dylan. Appreciate that. So, rolling on with the super chats, man, we have so many. Thank you to Sherry here for this next super chat. Normally listen to the post game live the following day. Love the community super chat donation for the sweep/trip win and wanted to join in. Thanks for all your terrific content. Feel better soon. Thank you, Sherry, for joining in on that. I know that was crazy, the momentum with all of that and everybody pledging for the sweep. And yeah, even though it's not a real sweep, it certainly feels like one, and as evidenced by all the people throwing the super chats in here. So thank you so much, Sherry. Appreciate that. I'm glad you're able to catch one of these live. It's fun. Next super chat from Light. I believe tonight was the first game ever where both Shane and Maddie had multi-point nights. Again, insert Squidward saying future meme here. Yes, future. Shane and Maddie. And actually, I think it was at the last game or was it 2 games ago? I don't remember, but it was the first time this season that Shane and Maddie both had a point in a game. And so they're growing, they're building. We are starting to see those contributions from the guys who really are going to be the future of the franchise, in Maddie Beniers and Shane Wright. And Maddie, and really, I think for both of them, it's just that they found the right line mates. They found the right group for them to play with. And we talked about Shane with Tolvin and Bjorkstrand, like, don't mess with that. Leave that how it is. But I think just equally as important is Maddie with Jaden Schwartz and Yanni Gord, and especially Yanni Gord, what he's bringing to that line. We saw the difference even from last game with Gord out. He goes out, he grinds it, along the boards. He creates space for Maddie Beniers to work, and really just makes that line work. And it's cool to see him be able to go and bring that work ethic and all that success to a line that needs it. Like, we never really talk about Yanni Gord as kind of the line fixer type of guy because he's a center. The centers usually slot in 1, 2, 3, 4, and you move the wingers in around him. But Yanni Gord is a winger. He can be a line fixer, and he's doing that with Maddie Beniers and Jaden Schwartz. So cool to see both of those guys having the success that they're having. Next super chat here from Elizabeth. 3/4 of a sweep equals 3/4 of my promised bag. Hey, fair enough. That makes sense. It's math. The boys must have burned Sage today. We beat Quick and the MSG curse. Give Shane's line all the minutes. How are we going to trade Turbo or Yanni? They bring the spark. Well, thankfully or not thankfully, however you want to look at it, the Kraken don't have to worry about the trade stuff for a while because of Jordan Eberle's injury. As long as he's out, they're not going to have to do anything. But yeah, when he comes back, if things are still going the way they're going now, I don't know how you move one of those two. You might have to kind of try and find more creative solutions. I mean, it might be just sending a Daniel Sprong down as part of it. That's kind of the easier way to do it. But I don't think you can move those guys. They bring a kind of spark that I think if you were to move them, one would send the wrong message at this point, and also you would lose a lot. So I think you have to hang on to them as long as you're in contention at all this season, and just figure out whatever other way to get under the cap. Because Gord and Tanev are absolutely bringing it. And a couple of guys too, who at the start of the season, we were, wondering, do they really bring anything anymore? Are they even a positive having them in the lineup? They've left no question about that. They are bringing a ton. Next super chat here from Chris. Great job yet again this season, gents. Appreciate the kind words there, Chris, and the super chat. I'd appreciate all the well wishes for Dylan and the feel better soon. Yeah, I know. He was texting me earlier today, and he just said, "I don't know. I don't think I can go. My back's just really bad." And I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of the post game." But last minute, like as the second and third period were happening, he texts me again. She's like, I can't miss this one. I got to hop on. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try at least for a little bit. So Dylan could not stay away. I know he was kind of trending toward being out for this one, but given the game, he had to come and hang out with all of you. So glad Dylan was able to join us for a time. Next one, for a super chat from Thomas. What are your insights on Mitchell Stevens? Good question. Mitchell Stevens has been pretty good in this call up with the Kraken. And look, he's not the flashiest player. He's a pretty simple kind of, grinded out north-south type of guy. And he's making this fourth line. He's basically the best fill-in for Yanni Gord that they possibly could have had. He's doing his Yanni Gord impression where he's doing a lot of the work along the boards. I mean, we saw it in this, with the Brandon Tanev goal in this game, right? Stevens, he circles the net. He kind of uses his body to body off defenders, and he'll just throw pucks to the middle or to areas like the point a couple games ago where he didn't get a point on that, but like on the Cartier goal, like he helped create that. He's basically just a pretty simple north-south chip it in and forecheck type of player. He's good with body positioning, and he's good at throwing pucks to smart areas. The hockey IQ is really high with him. And so he just fits really well, kind of doing his Yanni Gord impression on that fourth line. I guess minus the pepper pot bit. I haven't seen Stevens really mix it up physically that much, but that's okay. He's doing the things he needs to do. Super chat here from Elizabeth. The first Euro game I missed, and then they go beat the Rangers. Can't wait to rewatch it. Yeah, I would say this one is definitely worth a rewatch. Even if you know what happens, go out and check out the replay of this game. So much fun stuff going on. Lots of goals for you. But yeah, sorry you had to miss the game, but thank you for joining us here on Postgame Live. Really appreciate that, Elizabeth. And then, okay, we finally at the, and Elizabeth, I was doing happy dances at the pub. Oh, love to hear that from you, Elizabeth. Must have been fun to be at the pub there. That's great. Oh, I see Julia here in chat with the thanks for the shout out. That's nice. Okay, so we're almost at the 40-minute mark, and we finally hit the end of the super chats. That might be approaching a record. So thank you so much for everybody who put in a super chat here. I'd love to see that. Love to read all of those as I jump back into the top of chat. We got a ways to go to get back up top here, and I'll try and kind of, I'm not going to be able to read everybody's because there's so much in chat. I'll try to get to themes that maybe we haven't covered yet. But I'll start with Jacque's 2 cents. That's Kraken hockey, baby. Lindsay, that's Kraken hockey, baby. I know it's we're not used to this, but I feel like the chaotic element of it is Kraken hockey. Lindsay, the extra point is good on NFL Sunday. What a comeback. That's true. It is an NFL Sunday. I had the football games on in the corner of my screen trying to pay attention, but with this hockey game, I couldn't. I just turned the football off because this was fun. Let's see. So many people just pumped over the game, and seeing all the initial reaction from everyone is really cool. Hellbell, that was glorious. All the what a game, and to that effect. Lindsay, 15% chance to win when they were down 3-1. Take that, statistical models. Yeah, I know the models, when they're down 3-1, look, it felt like a 15% chance, or maybe even less to win. I mean, the Kraken turned it around from a pretty rough spot in this one. To Jen, Dylan was blacked out from the pressure of that game. I saw a few funny jokes about that. Dylan in a black hole. That's good. Let's see. B beating the matinee curse as well today. Yeah, that's right. Because with the early start time, the Kraken tend to struggle with that. I think they struggled early on, but as it got into the afternoon, they seemed to wake up a little bit. I wonder how much that had to do with it. Just getting a little more time there. Let's see. Fusion Mix. Now that was a season 2 win. Agreed. Yeah. 7-5 win. Maybe some iffy defense and goaltending at times, but you get the high scoring win. It did feel like season 2 in that one. Let's see. Everyone loving the Bjorkstrand, Wright, and Tolvanen line. Taylor checking in live from Madison Square Garden. Felt like the Knicks could have used some kind of authority figure, like a captain or something. Anyways, glad our boys could outscore a couple of leaky ones. Yeah, I mean, with the Rangers just getting rid of their captain, there's, I guess, you don't have the Mark Messier Leadership Award winner to go and right the ship here as they were falling apart in this one. So yeah, the Rangers, we haven't talked a ton about the Rangers, but man, it feels like they still have not solved their issues, and they're in some trouble. I do wonder if Laviolette is on the hot seat. Like, how much longer can you go with this kind of stuff happening before something, have it changes with the coach? Because that would kind of be the next logical step after trading your captain. But it really is a make or break season for the Rangers as well. So interesting times in New York, that's for sure. Let's see. Fusion Mix, Mitchell Stevens, I feel saw a little too much ice time, but like the dude is playing his heart out. I have to respect it. Yeah, I love the effort for Mitchell Stevens. What was his ice time in this one? 10:25. Like that's not so bad. It is a little bit more than the standard just fourth liner who gets no ice time, but I'm okay with 10.5 if he's playing well like he was today. Viren, Matty Beniers has scored his first power play point of the year. Yeah, way to point that out, because I think people were mentioning in chat on the last one, they didn't have a single, or maybe it was in the Discord, he didn't have a single power play point going into this game. So good to see Matty producing on the power play. I know that's an area where he has kind of struggled this season, but hopefully that's good for his confidence as well. And then some more conversation about Grubauer from Rogue Wave. Gru needs to go. Alex, minus 1.7 goals saved of expected. Did enough to give the team a chance to win, but wasn't great. I'm kind of with you guys. That's where I'm at. Like, we'll celebrate the win for what it was. He made the big saves when he had to, but my worries are back with Grubauer and how much you can afford to start him, because you're not going to score 7 every night. So I am still worried about that. I won't lean into it after a win like this, but just going to be honest about that. Lindsay asking, do you think the team plays differently in front of Gru than they do for Joey? I wonder how much mentality plays into how the game starts out. If you ask the players and the coaches, because we have asked Dave Hackstall this, we've asked Dan Bilesma this, we have asked the players this, they will all tell you, no, there's not a difference, and they can't explain like why, maybe the goal support or the defense or anything is different and they get different results. They've got nothing. So I don't know how I could how I could insist that there is something. But I do think the team in this one kind of maybe rallied around Gru after that rough first goal and maybe realized, okay, we can't afford to make mistakes, but that's not an every game thing. Moose, it's got to be pretty rare to have a burn the tapes type game and have it be a win. Just take your 2 points and run. Do not look back. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting film session after this one too, because as much as fans love a game like this, coaches hate it. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff I think the coaching staff's going to want to clean up. Let's see. David, I don't know if this is a ray of hope or what, but they have a better goal differential than all the other mid teams in the Western Conference. Yeah, it's true. And I think Dylan pointed that out on the podcast last week that, yeah, their goal differential actually is like pretty good compared to some of the other teams. And so maybe that can be an indicator of like who actually is good and not. And then from Dennis here, a Devils fan. This is cool. It's always fun to see fans of other teams pop in here. As a Devils fan, I know they had a lot of puck luck Friday night, or Kraken could have easily won. Thanks for defeating Carolina, New York Islanders, and New York Rangers. Love you guys too. Yeah, I mean, big you're welcome there to the New Jersey Devils. The Kraken taking care of business against some teams that I'm sure the Devils love to see them beat. And it is cool to see from a Devils fan just kind of acknowledging the Kraken played them really tough and played them really close, and kind of echoing what we talked about after that game, that, there was a lot of puck luck that kind of went into it and it really could have gone either way. So good to see that. And love seeing some away fans come in peace there. So thank you, Dennis, for that. Let's see. Brooke had to miss the third for a workout class. Huge score difference from the second to now. Love to see it. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure. How do you leave and miss the third? That's got to be tough. I know you got to go to your class, but like, got to be wondering like what's going on in a game like this one. I would hate to have to miss it. Edward, Dylan camera off in honor of us playing the infamous lights out game opponent. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, there's a little bit of parallels there. As I go down further in chat here, and just see all the well wishes for Dylan. Do appreciate that. Thanks from Edward. Mercury is in retrograde as opposed to Gatorade, which is in Dylan. Hopefully we can't visually confirm. Always good stuff from you there, Edward. Samantha, love our team. Yeah, they're fun after games like this. This definitely is one of those, love our team type of games. Let's see. Daniel, maybe Bilesman needs to scratch McCann. No. No, Jared McCann is not the problem there. Definitely not. I think it's more his line mates than him. Helena, such a fun game. Being 8-0-0 and starting the third with a lead is cool. I mean, it shows the importance of getting a lead in the third. And I think NHL teams' records as a whole are very, very good when you go into the third with a lead. But it's good to not have blown one, right? Especially given the close calls in this one. I think that's not something the Kraken of last season could say. I think they blew some third period leads, if I remember correctly. So we canter with Stevie and Berkey feels actually, wait, I realize. Yeah. Wait. Okay. Sorry. The chat jumped on me there. Canter with Stevie and Berkey feels like when the A+ student is paired with the struggling kids in the class. Yeah. I mean, I think there is a bit of an element to that. I'd call it more like the leftovers line type of thing, but I think the hope was that Jared McCann would kind of elevate Stevenson and maybe a Burakovsky. I think it might be the other way around. So yeah, you got to figure out a solution there. Julia, maybe Hedel was trying to fill the gap. Trouba left. They do have a team quota of injuries to cause. Let's see. Amanda joining late, so it may have been said, but Shane with 6 goals in 8 games. We have talked plenty about Shane, but the goal scoring run he is on is crazy. I mean, he is on fire from a goals perspective. And actually, we set the over under for him before the season at like 20 or something. He actually has a chance to hit that over. We thought it was done when he was being healthy scratch, but now I think he's got a chance to actually hit the over for those of you who voted the over there. Fusion Mix. According to the NHL PR account, the Kraken are the first team to have 15 7-goal wins in their first 4 seasons since 1980. That is a very specific stat. But that is interesting. I mean, the Kraken do, they have, I think between this and year 2, there are a lot of wins in which they scored seven or more goals, right? So I guess it doesn't totally surprise me to see that stat, but that is interesting, very specific. Oh, Fusion Mix, sorry. Now the highest ranked expansion team are the Oilers with 71 7-goal games as of 1980, but like not a fair comparison. Yeah, the 1980s Oilers, no, not a fair comparison here. That's for sure. Viren, we may not call Yanni a line fixer, but I've lost track of how many people have been moved to his line and immediately looked better going back multiple seasons. Yeah, exactly. I think I mentioned like the Yanni line fixer thing, and maybe it isn't just with him getting moved to wing, even as a center. We never talked about it in those terms, but yeah, he kind of has been a line fixer going back multiple seasons, and even like with Ellie Tolvanen being the waiver pickup, right? You got to find a place to put him. And you put him with Yanni Gord and Oliver Bjorkstrand, and the three of them just worked so well together. Like, I think we maybe should move the line fixer moniker over to Yanni Gord if he keeps doing this stuff. So, let's see. Going down into chat here. Yeah, and people talking about how it's important to have more than 20-man roster, once Eberle comes back. That is for sure. Like, I think they're going to want more flexibility there, but it's a problem they probably won't have to face for another couple months at the very, very least. And a lot can change in that time. Like, we'll be having totally different conversations a couple months from now, just one way or another. There's going to be a lot of hockey in between now and then. Somebody else could be hurt and just solve that problem right then. So it's kind of been that way for the Kraken. They've had a long-term injury at every point this season. So Fusion Mix. I did not realize Stevens had that low of ice time. Felt like he was noticeable, not always in a good way, when either accidentally screening Grew or being decked by a Ranger. I mean, there was that one kind of accidental screen on Grew, so there was a little bit there, but maybe it was also noticeable motoring around the ozone too, though. Stevens, I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game. You simply play in an attention-getting fashion, I guess, which really isn't like the book on him necessarily, but he was a lot of places in this one. Stacy, hi. Thanks for being the Rangers. Love Yins, Kraken. Yeah, appreciate that. And then, so as we reach the end of chat, I'll kind of do a last calls with the 51-minute mark. Appreciate so many people in here and all the super chats and everything. Just another one after a fun game. Pablo asking, how's the weather there? It is overcast, and I don't know how cold it is. I actually have not been outside yet today. But the weather is fine. It's how I like it. It's typical Seattle winter day, about a little under 50 degrees. So happy to see that. So we'll do one last call in chat here for everybody before we end things. I'm trying to think of any points that I wanted to mention in this one about the game that we didn't really cover yet. I mean, we talked a little bit about Bjorkstrand and that whole line, but like 4 points from Oliver Bjorkstrand. He is on fire right now, and he's going to need to be one of the Kraken's top scorers if they're going to have success, and he is absolutely living up to that and playing really well. So shout out to Oliver Bjorkstrand there in this one. Super chat here from Zoe. Done with the 4-game point streak with 9 points in 9 games, defensive issues aside. Yeah, glad to have him back. How are you feeling about Monty, Dunn, Riker together? I think with Vince Dunn, first of all, like love his production. Dunn is back. He's playing great. Having those 3 puck moving defensemen, I think, does kind of provide the Kraken with a weapon, that they can use that other teams really don't have when they can produce so much from the back end. I think these D pairs are, they're pretty darn good. Like, if you have everybody healthy, Dunn, Larson, they are who they are, right? They have the chemistry. You don't want to break them up. I think really what it does is it just allows you to have a good puck mover on the ice at all times. And that's the key for the Kraken, the way they're able to generate offense. They need to get a lot of that from their defensemen moving the puck up the ice. And so I love having all 3 of them healthy is huge for the Kraken. And it's really a big part of how this team is built too, because they want to get up the ice quick. They want to play with speed, and that starts with clean zone exits out of your own zone, and that requires needing puck movers to move the puck up the ice. Zoe stream keeps crashing. It makes it hard to get these through. Oh, interesting. So, because I did see a lot of the chats kind of dry up really recently in the last 10 minutes. So I don't know if the connectivity thing is there for everybody or if it's just you, Zoe. Oh, and I see, Daniel bringing up the McCann scratch, talking about, joking about how everyone like starts producing after the scratches. I get it now. B, this was a Kraken revenge game against Jonathan Quick specifically, going from shutout to 6 goals scored on him. Yeah, I mean, they certainly figured him out in a way that they did not in the game in Seattle. So good to see them kind of respond against the same goalie, one that gave them fits last time. So that's good to see. And growing up a Sharks fan, I'm always happy to see Jonathan Quick get lit up. So that's okay with me. Chris, did Joey D get Dylan sick? We can't afford that kind of downtime for the big dog. Well, Dylan was a back issue. I'm the one who's sick, but they've been on the road, so I think we can rule that out as a possibility there. Although it seemed like something might be going around with the team there. Chandler Stevenson, I know, missed a game with an illness, but it's just that time of year. Everybody's got something that they're dealing with. And then Daniel, according to my math, the Kraken need to win 10 of 15 in December to get back on playoffs pace. Now only need to go 7-4 the rest of the month. Still a tall task, but it's doable. It's some tough opponents, but you should have like Ottawa, Chicago. Those should be beatable. Utah maybe in there, and you just got to find a way to flip a couple of those games against some good teams, which they've shown they can do. So, they can be back on track here, and the road trip kind of does save their season. If it's 1-3 instead of 3-1, we're talking about maybe things being over, but instead they're right back in the thick of things. And so on that note, I think that'll do it for this episode of ECH Post Game Live. Thank you to everybody who joined us for this one. I mean, big thank you to everyone who gave super chats. There were so many. Appreciate that from all of you, and hope everyone is able to go enjoy the rest of their Sunday. Still a lot of day left. Go watch some football, go relax, go hang out with some friends and family, and just bask in the glow of this crazy Kraken win. And I will see you all next time.